Welcome back. I am so glad you could join us today
Yeah, glad to be here.
because, today's date is Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. And if you are anything like the rest of the world right now, your eyes are firmly locked on the rapidly escalating conflict in the Middle East.
It has definitely been a whirlwind of a week.
It really has. And you're probably looking for some clarity amidst all the chaos. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right.
We are pulling our insights from two incredible grounding sources today to help us understand the actual reality on the ground. The first is an English-translated transcript of a deeply comprehensive geopolitical analysis by Akash Banerjee. That's from his YouTube channel, The Deshpack.
Which is excellent, by the way.
It really is. And the second is a breaking, honestly very sobering news report straight from the BBC.
Exactly. And our mission for this deep dive is to really cut straight through the noise of what is now day 4 of the U.S.-Iran conflict.
Hey, 4 already.
Yeah. We're going to synthesize the brutal military realities on the ground, the immense political shockwaves rippling across the globe, and crucially, the massive economic implications that are going to affect your daily life.
Because this is no longer just some distant geopolitical event.
No, not at all. It is something that is going to hit your wallet and your community very, very soon.
Yeah. And just a quick heads up as we get into this. We're looking at some heavily charged political rhetoric today from all sides of the American political spectrum.
Right, and some highly contested international claims as well.
Exactly. And we aren't here to take a stance or, endorse any of these views, arguments, or political statements.
Our sole purpose today is to impartially lay out exactly what the sources are saying.
Right. Reporting the ideas and narratives exactly as they are presented in the original sources, so you can see the full board and draw your own conclusions.
Because knowledge is most valuable when understood in its full context. And to do that, we have to look at what everyone is saying without playing favorites.
We have to look at the raw data, the competing narratives right side by side.
Exactly.
So let's dive straight into the sheer scale of this conflict. We're only 4 days in, and despite all those initial expectations of a quick surgical, get in and get out operation.
Which is what was pitched.
Right. The sources are making one thing crystal clear right now. There are absolutely no brakes on this war.
None at all.
The strikes have been devastating. The U.S. and Israel have been heavily bombing Tehran, which is a city that, according to the initial political rhetoric we heard, was supposedly going to be, quote-unquote, liberated.
Yeah, that rhetoric contrasts sharply with what's happening. The Deshpack transcript highlights a deeply tragic incident where a girls' school in Tehran was hit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, resulting in the deaths of over 160 people.
That is just a staggering civilian toll for the very first week of the campaign.
It is. And in retaliation, Iran is returning fire with everything they have. They are launching heavy bombardments against Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem, and various Gulf states.
The human cost is just mounting so rapidly on all sides.
It is. And the breaking BBC report we're analyzing has just confirmed the first American casualties of this specific conflict.
Right.
6 U.S. Army Reserve soldiers have died.
6.
Yeah. The attack took place in Port Shuaibah, Kuwait, where an unmanned aircraft system managed to completely evade Allied air defenses.
And the BBC report actually confirmed the identities of 4 of those fallen soldiers.
Right.
And what's truly heartbreaking is just the range of lives lost here.
Absolutely.
We're looking at Captain Cody Cork, age 35 from Florida, Sergeant Noah Teachins, age 42 from Nebraska,
Right.
Sergeant Nicola Moore, age 39 from Minnesota, and Sergeant Declan Cody, who is just a 20-year-old kid from Iowa.
It's tragic. 2 other service members who died in the strike have yet to be publicly identified.
Right. But it's really how they died that's causing a massive uproar right now, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's exposing a major rift in the official narrative.
Tell us about that.
Well, this situation raises a critical issue about information flow during wartime. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth publicly claimed that a fortified tactical operations center was hit with a, quote, powerful weapon.
Fortified Tactical Operations Center.
Right, which projects an image of overwhelming enemy force defeating top-tier American defenses.
Yeah, it makes it sound like they did everything they could.
Exactly. However, the BBC report cites sources speaking to CBS who leaked a very different reality.
And what was that?
They stated that these soldiers were actually working in a makeshift trailer.
A makeshift trailer.
Yes, that was only shielded by 12-foot steel-reinforced concrete barriers.
Wow. So it severely questions the level of protection and infrastructure these troops actually had on the ground in a known combat zone.
Precisely.
And honestly, the numbers coming out of Kuwait just don't make sense when you look at the broader logistical picture painted by the YouTube source.
Yeah, there's a huge disconnect.
The U.S. currently has over 13,000 troops stationed in Kuwait alone.
That's a massive footprint.
It is. They have huge aircraft carriers and this sprawling military presence in the region. Yet simultaneously, the U.S. government has told its millions of civilian citizens scattered across the Middle East that they need to figure out their own evacuation.
Yeah, that was shocking.
The military has explicitly stated it simply cannot assist in evacuating them right now.
It is a profound logistical and strategic paradox. I mean, you have a military presence of that magnitude, yet it's completely unable to execute civilian non-combatant evacuations.
It just underscores how thinly stretched the current posture is.
Exactly. It shows how reactive they are right now. All resources are being poured into offensive operations and basic base defense, leaving literally zero bandwidth for civilian protection.
And the staggering military losses being claimed in the sources further highlight that reactive posture. Now, we have to note that these are claims from the Iranian side.
Right, it's important to remember that.
But if even partially true, they completely reshape our understanding of the battlefield.
Yeah.
Iran claims to have sunk 11 warships, and they say they have completely destroyed the largest U.S. radar installation in the Middle East.
Those are massive claims.
Yeah. Furthermore, on March 1st, 3 U.S. F-15 fighter jets crashed in Kuwait. The U.S. military is claiming this was a catastrophic incident of, quote, friendly fire.
Right. While Iran, on the other hand, is claiming their advanced Russian-made S-300 surface-to-air defense systems shot those jets out of the sky. What's fascinating here is how this chaos on the ground is actually a direct result of Iran's deeply intentional military strategy following the death of Ayatollah Khamenei.
Okay, break that down for us.
You have to understand how their command structure has fundamentally shifted. Normally, conventional military doctrine suggests that if you take out the leadership, the adversary's military apparatus will collapse into disorganized disarray.
Right, the classic, you cut off the head of the snake and the body dies approach.
Exactly. But the sources are telling us Iran anticipated exactly this scenario.
They planned for it.
Yes, they have implemented what military analysts call a mosaic defense.
Related defense.
Because their supreme leader is dead, there is no longer a clear top-down chain of command. The entire system has been intentionally decentralized.
Wow. So the pieces just operate on their own.
Exactly like a mosaic. The military is essentially operating in a completely weapons-free mode.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning local commanders hidden in the mountains or stationed at individual missile silos now have the ultimate authority to launch strikes independently without waiting for orders from Tehran.
The YouTube transcript even mentioned that Iran's own foreign minister admitted their military units are completely out of contact with the political leadership.
Right. And we really need to pause and think about the strategic nightmare that creates.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Even if the United States woke up tomorrow, realized the human and economic cost was too high, and decided they wanted a ceasefire,
There's no one to call.
there is literally no central authority left in Iran to negotiate with. There is no one sitting at a desk who can pick up a red phone, sign a treaty, and issue a credible stand-down order to all those independent drone operators and missile commanders.
The war machine is just running on autopilot.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because that completely decentralized structure turns what was supposed to be a quick, overwhelming strike into a grueling, highly asymmetrical war of attrition.
Yeah, attrition is the key word here.
And when we look at the arsenals of both sides, the contrast is alarming.
The financials alone are staggering.
Right. The U.S. has already spent $1.5 billion just on the buildup for Operation Epic Fury.
$1.5 billion.
And the problem isn't just money. It's the physical hardware and the sheer mathematics of modern warfare. The interceptor missiles the U.S. uses to shoot down incoming threats, like the Patriots and the SM-6s, are incredibly complex and expensive to manufacture.
Very true.
They take a long time to build, and they are in dangerously short supply right now.
The timeline provided in the sources regarding these interceptors is incredibly stark. Bloomberg, as cited in the YouTube analysis, predicts that the UAE will completely run out of interceptor missiles in just 1 week.
1 week. That's nothing.
Qatar will run dry in 4 days.
Unbelievable.
And to compensate for this massive burn rate of ammunition, the United States is actively pulling critical missile defense systems away from Ukraine and the Indo-Pacific region.
Wow, so they're leaving other areas exposed.
Exactly. This means the U.S. is actively weakening its global deterrence posture, leaving allies vulnerable in Europe and Asia just to keep up with the incoming fire in the Middle East.
Meanwhile, Iran is fighting a very, very different economic war.
Completely different.
They are launching cheap, mass-produced drones that cost a few $1,000s, forcing the U.S. to shoot them down with interceptors that cost millions of dollars apiece.
It's an unsustainable math problem.
Iran claims they have months and months of ballistic missile and drone supplies safely stockpiled in underground bunkers. And they're openly stating they're just warming up.
Which brings us to the political shockwaves back in Washington, D.C.
Right, let's look at the domestic side of this.
Because if the military reality is a logistical maze, the political messaging is a complete labyrinth.
That's a good way to put it.
Over just the last few days, the administration has given 5 entirely different justifications for why this war is happening.
5.
5. The narrative is shifting on an almost daily basis.
It really is a dizzying circle of logic.
Yeah.
Let's trace how the sources say this narrative has morphed.
Go for it.
First, we heard it was a mission to end Iran's nuclear program once and for all.
Right.
But the sources point out that Vice President J.D. Vance previously claimed on the record that they had already destroyed the nuclear program with bunker buster bombs back in June of 2025.
So that justification falls apart.
So suddenly the narrative pivots. Number 2, the administration starts saying it's actually about regime change and bringing democracy to Iran.
But then a day later, the defense secretary walks that back.
Exactly. He says, no, we aren't nation building. It's just about degrading Iran's missile capacity. That's 3.
Then comes number 4.
Right. Following that, another official claims it was simply a protective measure to stop Iran from attacking its regional neighbors.
And the 5th justification is perhaps the most convoluted piece of geopolitical logic presented in the sources.
Oh, this one is wild.
Senator Marco Rubio publicly claimed that the U.S. had intelligence showing Israel was about to attack Iran.
Oh, yeah.
According to this specific logic, Iran would inevitably respond to an Israeli strike by attacking United States forces in the region.
Right.
Therefore, the United States decided to preemptively attack Iran to prevent the higher American casualties that would have supposedly resulted from Iran retaliating against Israel's planned attack.
I mean, let me get this straight. You essentially have the U.S. attacking a country to prevent that country from attacking the U.S. in response to a hypothetical attack by a third country.
That is exactly the logic being presented.
The expert analysis in our sources notes the massive fallout from this shifting, twisting narrative.
Oh, it's huge.
Critics and even former U.S. ambassadors are pointing to this confusion to argue that it's actually Israel, not America, that is currently dictating United States Middle East policy, essentially forcing Washington's hand.
And this perceived lack of coherent strategy is causing a massive internal political crisis for Donald Trump.
Especially with his base.
Particularly with his own core base.
We are seeing an incredible fracture. And again, reminding you of our impartiality rule, we are just looking at what the sources are reporting about the domestic reaction.
Right, just the facts as reported.
The YouTube transcript dives deep into how furious the Maguia base is right now. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is usually a fiercely loyal ally, took to social media to call the administration a bunch of sick liars.
That's a direct quote.
She pointed out that the entire America First movement was explicitly built on an anti-interventionist platform.
Right.
And conservative commentator Matt Walsh also publicly pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of a president who heavily campaigned as a peacemaker, suddenly starting a massive multi-front war without any discernible exit strategy.
And the polling data heavily reflects this deep domestic fracture.
What are the numbers saying?
Well, according to CNN polls cited in the source, a sweeping 60% of Americans currently disapprove of the decision to attack Iran.
60%.
Yes. And a separate Reuters Ipsos poll puts the maximum approval rating for this military campaign at barely 30%.
Wow.
The sources emphasize a very sharp irony here. President Trump, who famously promised, quote, zero wars and consistently ran on keeping America out of foreign conflicts, has now authorized bombings in 7 different countries during his tenure.
7 countries. It is a political earthquake that is really shaking up traditional party alignments.
Absolutely.
But as chaotic as the battlefields of the Washington spin rooms are, The economic shockwaves are what is going to hit you, the listener, the absolute fastest.
Yeah, the global supply chain disruptions are already massive and compounding by the hour.
The Iranian Revolutionary Guards have effectively blockaded the Strait of Hormuz.
Which is a critical choke point.
Very critical. They aren't just patrolling it, they are explicitly threatening to burn any passing cargo or tanker ships.
And for context, that strait handles 20 to 21 million barrels of oil every single day.
That is roughly a fifth of the world's daily oil consumption. And that flow is now completely halted.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the global ripple effects are terrifying for the world economy.
Give us the rundown.
Brent crude oil is already sitting at $80 a barrel, and market analysts are sounding the alarm that it could easily spike to $120 or even $150 a barrel in the coming weeks.
$150, that would be devastating.
It would be. And over in Europe, natural gas prices have jumped by more than 50% almost overnight.
Just overnight.
Yes, adding severe pressure to the energy crisis, Qatar, which is a massive supplier, has completely halted its gas exports due to the regional instability.
The YouTube source brings up the incredibly dire situation for India, which honestly serves as a massive warning sign for the rest of the global economy.
Right, India is highly exposed here.
India relies heavily on the Middle East for 55% of its crude oil and half of its liquid natural gas.
Yeah.
Right now, India has about a 20 to 25 day buffer stock of fuel.
25 days is not a lot of time.
It's basically a ticking clock. Once that runs out in a few weeks, they are looking at a catastrophe.
Exactly.
We're talking about massive, crippling inflation, skyrocketing transport costs that will just freeze their agricultural sector, and severe food price hikes.
And because the global supply chain is so deeply interconnected, what happens to India's manufacturing and economy will immediately impact the prices of goods on the shelves where you live too.
And amid all this economic panic, there is a massive geopolitical wildcard that has just been played.
Oh yeah, the wild card.
Which threatens to expand the war even further. There's been a direct, devastating military strike on Saudi Aramco's vital oil infrastructure.
Right, and usually in these regional proxy conflicts, Iran would either take credit for this or be the incredibly obvious suspect.
Right.
But in a surprising twist, Iran has explicitly denied hitting the facility, releasing a statement saying they would not attack their, quote, brother.
That denial has led to intense speculation and just a flurry of geopolitical conspiracy theories.
Oh, definitely.
The Deshbak transcript notes that Riyadh is currently investigating the origin of the strike. But there are heavy theories circulating that Israel, or perhaps another covert actor, conducted the strike as a false flag operation.
A false flag?
Right. And the theoretical goal behind such a move would be to enrage Saudi Arabia, make them believe Iran attacked their lifeblood, and essentially drag them directly into the active military coalition fighting against Iran.
It is a high-stakes, incredibly dangerous game of chess.
Extremely dangerous.
If Saudi Arabia determines they were manipulated by an ally, or even if they remain unsure, it could permanently fracture the entire allied coalition in the region.
Wow.
And the international pushback against the war is already solidifying rapidly.
Right, we're seeing that with Europe.
Exactly. For example, Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has firmly and publicly said, quote, no to war.
Flatly rejecting it.
He flatly rejected aggressive threats from President Trump to sever U.S.-Spain trade over the issue. This signals that traditional European allies are absolutely not willing to be dragged into this conflict blindly, even under economic duress.
So what does this all mean?
That's the big question.
When we look at everything we have unpacked today from these sources, the key takeaways are staggering. What was pitched to the public as a quick, decisive, surgical strike has rapidly morphed into a sprawling, multi-front war of attrition.
With no clear exit strategy.
None. The economic consequences are already severe, halting massive portions of the global oil supply and threatening to get much worse, which will drive up global inflation.
And most importantly, the mounting human cost.
Yeah. From the young American soldiers caught off guard in Kuwait to the school children caught in the crossfire in Tehran, it is deeply tragic.
It really is.
We wanted to bring this deep dive to you today because understanding this complex web is vital. This isn't just news happening far away. This conflict will directly impact the price you pay for fuel, the cost of your groceries, and the broader geopolitical balance of the world you live in.
This raises an important question, and I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you watch this situation continue to develop in the coming days.
What's that?
When a modern, high-tech military shatters the central command of an adversary, they might think they've won the decisive victory. But in the age of decentralized, asymmetric warfare, Does destroying a nation's leadership actually eliminate the threat? Or does it simply unleash an uncontrollable headless force that has absolutely nothing left to lose?
That is a chilling question and definitely something to think about as we watch the days unfold and the global markets react. Thank you so much for joining us for today's deep dive. We appreciate your curiosity, your willingness to explore these complex sources, and your time. Until next time, stay informed.